Thanks for tuning into my video blog this week. I want to talk to you all about being in love with backwards. And I saw a tweet about a week or so ago that someone said that there's no way that you can move forward if you're in love with backwards. And it really kind of stuck with me, and I was really kind of thinking about that throughout the week. And then I came to some scripture I was reading, and it really kind of spoke to me and confirmed some of the things that I had already been thinking about. So, posing that question in my video blog this week is, are you in love with backwards? Are you in love with this cycle of defeat, or this cycle of downfall or turmoil where you just, things are good for a while, but then all of a sudden you go back into this cycle of, just doing things wrong or messing things up, or just doing things that you know are not right, or the things that you know that you're not supposed to be doing that aren't good for you, that don't help you be well. And so that's kind of what I'll be talking about in my video blog this week. So to start off, I kind of had an analogy that I came up with that will help me with some of the scripture that I'm going to share with you all. So if you think about a plant, or if you think about like a weed, if you have a garden or something. Now, if you want to get rid of a plant, you have to pull it up at the root. You can't just cut it off and think that it won't grow back, because more than likely the plant will grow back because you haven't got to the root. And so I was really thinking of that analogy with this story that I'm going to share, and that many times we want to get rid of things, or we think we're getting rid of things, and we get rid of some of the extra things that come with it, but we really don't get to the root of the issue. And so I hope that will sort of help you all understand with the story that I'm going to share. In the book of Judges, the children of Israel had just come out of captivity, and God gave them specific instructions. He told them that they were to get rid of the people who were left in this land. And now the children of Israel, they obeyed God, but not completely. It was kind of like an incomplete disobedience. They got rid of some of the people in the land, but they left some of them there to linger, and they didn't really follow the instructions that God had given them. So due to this action on their behalf, God said, you know what? I'm going to leave these people that you have left here, and they're going to be a thorn in your side, essentially meaning like they're going to cause you issues, and they're going to constantly tempt you to want to do bad things. And so that's really why I use that analogy of, having this plant and you really not getting rid of the root. Like God told them, you need to get rid of these things, or they will cause you issues, and they will cause you constant problems in your life. But they refuse to do that. They only obey God to a certain extent. And so I was really thinking about this, as for myself and something to share with you all. And it really kind of made me think of this idea of being in love with backwards, of in love with this cycle of sin, or this cycle of where you fall back into your old ways after, you've been doing well for a while. And if you look in Judges, specifically chapter 2, and if you read the whole book of Judges, you will see that the children of Israel, they literally went through a cycle. God will raise up a judge, which was someone that will come and deliver them, and would hear from God and will follow God. And they would be fine. Everything would be going well, and they would have peace. But as soon as the judge would die off, they will go right back into that same cycle of sin that they were in before. And that's because they didn't get rid of these people that God had told them to. He gave them specific instructions that you need to get rid of these people, because they will be a thorn in your side and they're going to tempt you. But they failed to do that, and they ended up in a situation where these things is causing them constant problems, and now they're falling into this cycle of sin, this cycle of defeat, where things are good for a while, but then after a while, things go bad, and they start worshiping these idol gods and things like that, and then God will raise up another judge. And it really just shows the compassion and the love that God really has and the faithfulness to his word, that even if we are disobedient and rebellious, God still will raise up someone, or he will send a word of deliverance to his people. And so with sharing that story and, talking about being in love with backwards, I want to pose that question to you all this week. What has God told you to get rid of? What things do you know that are not good for you that you refuse to get rid of? Like, I've talked about in the past, like, is it a relationship? Is it whatever that you know is not good for you, but you refuse to get rid of those things because, you get rid of some of it, or I'll stop doing this, but, you're still thinking about it, which sometimes is just as bad, because if you're thinking about it, chances are you're going to act on it. And so, like the children of Israel, they cried out to God and asked him for deliverance, but then they would go right back into that cycle. So I wanted to pose that to you all this week. Are you in love with backwards? And sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes it's things that we don't even realize we're doing. I'm reading a book right now that's really talking about examining your mind, and sometimes those things are subconscious. The scripture in the book of Psalms, one of the psalmists writes, search me, God, test my thoughts, like show me my motives, my thoughts, so that I know that I'm pleasing you. So that's something that we have to do, because sometimes it's easy to say, well, I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that, but sometimes those cycles that we go into are unconscious and we don't even realize it. So I wanted to share that with you all this week too, and just really do some evaluation and do some deep looking inside and asking God to really show you, and just pay attention to your life. Like, are you going through a cycle of where things are going well and then you make some bad decisions and you get back into some things that you shouldn't be doing in the first place, and God is not pleased with that at all. So encourage you all to think about that and pray through and ask God to search and examine you, and that we will be able to move forward. Like the tweet I saw, that we will move forward and we won't be in love with backwards, where we're in the same old cycle. We got to really pull up the root of what the real issue is and stop trying to get rid of the extraneous things, and really get down to what the root of the issue is, and God will be faithful to deliver us and set us free. So I want to share that with you all this week, and I hope that you all have a blessed week.